The central conflict of any epic film is usually seen as having far-reaching effects, often changing the course of history. Now here are the final two epic films of the show, The Key and The Cell Phone.
A variety of classes are offered here at Ladue. One senior in particular, Desiree Morales, is getting a head start on her future by taking full advantage of these resources. Alyssa Buchanan gets a closer look at this ambitious student.
When you're taking a picture, it's more than just like the lighting. You have to feel it. And I know that sounds cliche, but you actually do have to know just right when to take the shot and when is the best moment for it. Typical things don't interest me, they never have. So photography is different, and I always said that I never wanted to do routine things with my life. And getting into photography is there could be so many things, so many ways I could spin this, so many things I can photograph, nothing is the same. And then it's also the fact I like the concept of capturing things at the right moment, at the right time. When you capture a photo, a lot of things have to go into play, as far as outdoors in black and white, there has to be really good lighting, so the best times are between 10 and 2. And then in the right moment. So say if you're taking a picture of a person or just something moving, an animal or anything, you have to capture it right at the right second. Because if you wait too long, you'll lose the moment. And then if you take it too early, you lose the story. Well, this is a photo essay I did from Photography and Art 1. A Creedy Panthy was my subject, and she was blowing bubbles. And you can see here her shadowing, so it was really good lighting out that day. And the shadow from the bubbles, on her shirt, she's in front of a brick for a simple background so the bubbles can show up. And the colors are even. In this one, the simple background again, you can see the bubbles. on the wall. This is the blowing. And this is her playing with them and her eating it and more shadowing. This is her watching them leave. And as Henry Cartier-Bresson once said, you just have to live and life will give you pictures.
Are schools getting too much funding or not enough? Senior Josh Pikus explores this crucial political topic, which is currently affecting our nation's schools.
For me, it was not just one event or issue that helped me to discover how the federal government plays a role in my life. It was an accumulation of experiences that can be summed up in one word.
Education.
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 Education, education.
Education. It all started back in elementary school when we learned about how my state and country were founded. But it all really hit me one day in a class that I took my junior year in high school. Advanced Placement United States Government.
Government classes prepare people to be voters. You graduate high school, you're usually old enough to vote, and without knowing how the system operates, without knowing the issues, voting's kind of worthless.
Do government classes in school help our kids? It's like telling me, do arithmetic help you to understand algebra? Do algebra help you understand calculus? Yes, it does.
As I began to talk to people, I learned some interesting information. In my state, it is required that all students take government courses in high school.
I grew up in California. At the time, it wasn't required. I didn't get my first government class until I was in law school.
I found that interesting, and I started to take a look at other issues in not just government classes, but education in general. And I found one issue that seems to have an elusive solution: funding. But before I could explore this problem, I had to learn where the money was coming from.
State educational funding is based on a foundation formula, a formula that's been designed by the legislature, adopted by the legislature with the Department of Education, and it allocates monies to individual school districts based on that formula, and it's also based on the amount of money that is generated from the legislature. Federal funding comes based on the neediest population. Those dollars are also based on a formula, but they're sent to the state and then distributed to school districts by the state with a different formula based on children with disabilities, children who speak a language other than English, and children who live in poverty.
So basically, districts that can fund themselves do so, but those that can't rely on the state government for most of their basic money, while the federal government gives money to states to give to schools that need the money the most. But do schools need more money?
Funding education is, again, a top priority, and there's always more that we can do.
I don't believe that St. Louis Public Schools are getting the funding that they need.
With class sizes, what they are, with the challenges from kids who come from homes with where a different language is spoken, learning disabilities, we really can't get enough funding to address these problems.
Yes, I think we need more funding to continue to do the programs that we're doing.
There are really important facets that are developing within education that really don't have the funding that they need, technology being one of them. Being able to really do the professional development that's necessary to really have science teachers that are on the cutting edge of the information, having curriculum and textbooks that are up to date, having the consumables, things that kids use, workbooks, reading materials that they can take home. Those things can't be supported under the current funding structure.
Who should pay for all of this? Then I wondered, maybe there's someone who has not held up their end of the bargain.
I do believe that the federal government has not met funding in the areas, certain areas that it's mandated.
One such area that State Representative Shoup is talking about is people who qualify under IDEA, or Individuals with Disability Education Act. And since the government has never funded the program as much as they promised they would, I then asked her, who ends up paying for what the federal government doesn't?
That shortfall does fall to the states and also to the local school districts.
But not everyone thinks that more is always the answer.
So it's not a matter of money, it's a matter of how they utilize it and how they deliver education to their students. An example, the highest funded, or one of the highest funded districts in the whole country is Washington, D.C. They are the lowest performing in the whole country. So even though they're the highest funded, they're the lowest performing. So there is no correlation after a certain point between funding and achievement.
We are spending more than twice as much money on education today than we were 40 years ago, and the results have declined.
Increasing it would be a good thing if you can prove that it's doing what it's supposed to do.
That led me to believe that maybe there's wasteful spending in schools.
When my son was in high school, I didn't know what to do with all the principals in that high school. I honestly did not even know how to use them, and I was on the school board.
We rush in and put in equipment when maybe we haven't trained our teachers in the best way to utilize that equipment.
Like if I owned an iPhone but had no idea how to use it. But some people say that wasteful spending is in each person's point of view.
Wasteful spending is in the eye of the beholder. I think it depends on, it's on really your opinion. If you're in drama, you might see something in the athletic program that you might think is wasteful. But you may not have been an athletic to know the benefits of that program, or it could be vice versa.
Say you have half the money you need. You could still make poor choices within half the money that you need.
When I looked into solutions, what I got was as much of a melting pot of ideas as America is of people. But one thing did become clear. Educational funding and spending have problems, and these problems are hurting our students.
Most of our young people are not prepared, and I can speak specifically to St. Louis. We have about a 50% graduation rate in St. Louis, so 1 out of 2 kids don't cross the stage at high school level. And of the 50% that graduate, only about 40% of those students go on to a 2- or 4-year college. And of those that go on, 80% need remedial courses.
So that means out of a graduating class of 100 students, only 4 go on and are prepared for college. That's just sad. But who's to blame? The government? The schools? In the end, it all really boils down to one thing.
Education has never been more important than it is today.
Education is a very difficult thing, but it is our future. And it is a wise investment when we invest in our kids.
So whatever way you might have learned about the federal government, you still know that one of the biggest problems in America today is education. So find out ways you can voice your opinion and help to fix education.
Thanks for watching the February edition of Ladue View. Come back next month for more exciting news.
Be sure to watch Ladue View anytime on our channel at schooltube.com and become a fan of the show on Facebook. I'm Morgan Moore.
And I'm Cody Medler. Have a great day.